Jason Aaron, Dale Cowan, Carlos Magno, and Ed McGuinness continue the reality-altered story as Hyperion's greatest enemies escape from the negative zone, forcing Mark Milton to spend the day battling the forces of evil as Blade continues his search for the truth. Jason Aaron kind of slows down the Heroes Reborn story progression for a little bit of world building by pretty much just writing a Superman comic with Hyperion, who is, after all, literally Marvel's Superman stand-in, dealing with all of his greatest villains, from a Metallo-inspired Ultron and a Bizarro Hulk. Unlike how the first issue just kind of dropped us into the story with Blade, this issue is set about introducing new readers to who Hyperion is, and how he very much is like Superman, but with a healthy dose of, say, US agent thrown in, with the hero being all about America and truth and justice in the American way and being very patriotic. While the overall story was about selling Hyperion as the hero of this world, there were also some great parts that forwarded the Heroes Reborn plot, with more evidence that the world is indeed being changed emerging and people like Hyperion not caring, since they got what they want, while other people like the Hulk remember and suffer the consequences because of it. I'm kinda bummed though that we never actually got to see Steve Rogers' resurrection. He just now is unthawed and working with Blade, but I guess there was a time issue or something, or maybe next issue might pick up where that story started. Dale Cowan and Carlos Magno joined the returning Ed McGuinness, and all three pitched in on the book, and overall it was quite great. But I'm really confused with Dale and Carlos's work, since Carlos only did 2 pages, with Dale doing the rest of their story being the bulk of the issue. Their art looked fantastic, by the way, and it was absolutely fantastic seeing all of this action and the Superman-inspired action and adventure, but it was strange that an artist would only do 2 pages, both of which weren't consecutive pages. There were 2 pieces throughout the story. I'm not really sure why that happened. McGuinness looked after the back part of the book, which is where the bulk of the Heroes Reborn centric story actually happened, and I quite like how the former Superman artist was now drawing a Superman analogy. Heroes Reborn issue 2 was a great soft continuation of Jason Aaron's alternate reality event, this time focusing on Hyperion for the entire issue and doing some really awesome world building and showing us the world he inhabits, showing more of the heroes and villains that have all changed thanks to whatever happened to the Avengers. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. A 9. Heroes Reborn issue 2 heads years into the past where Galactus and the Silver Surfer arrive on Earth, proclaiming Earth shall sustain him forever. Hyperion knows that he never remembered the faces of his parents, not even knowing their names or the planet he came from, only that they loved him beyond measure, and the rocket he was sent to Earth in is proof of that. He knows his birth world was taken by a cosmic mass murderer when he consumed it, and today is for his parents and to show they didn't die in vain. Hyperion smashes right through Galactus's head, killing the being instantly, as Hyperion says that he is a man forged of sun, honesty, atomic grit, and red-blooded American way. In the present, Hyperion finishes reading a story about the mystery of Captain America in World War II, giving the student of his a C+ for the total myth she's writing about. Mark knows that he takes his Solitude where he can, knowing Zada suggested they build a fortress in the sky above the Midwest to keep an eye on people, but he doesn't want to be that far from the dirt. He soon hears a call from Reed Richards of S.H.I.E.L.D. Labs, since something has gone terribly wrong with the negative zone. Mark races to see the scientist, really hoping Dr. Doom hasn't escaped. Ben Grimm says Doom is still locked away, really hoping that he could have seen the Juggernaut gem in DC. Hyperion asks what happened, learning from the scientist that it's what he warned them about and that there has been a breakout in the unstable antimatter universe, the negative zone. Mark doesn't have time for Reed's science, since banishing the villains there was the only effective way to contain them and contain criminals like Dr. Doom. He asks who has escaped, but Reed says that the others escaped when Doom was sent back to the zone, with Ben knowing that all of the other inmates are now loose. Hyperion knows that it's going to be a long day, as later he battles Gladiator and the Imperial Guard, who were trying to take over a space shuttle launch to return to their homeworld of the Brood Imperium. He knows these people were once his friends before being infected by the Brood, but he can't be soft on them now. The next threat he deals with is Mr. Beyonder, the reality-bending being who claims to have escaped out of boredom. Hyperion ties his tongue around the moon in super knots as the villain screams that the world is built on lies, and Hyperion is the mightiest liar of them all. Hyperion finds the words linger on his mind, causing more trouble than they should. On the roof of the Daily Bugle, photographer Peter Parker calls for his friend Hyperion, hoping that he can spare a minute to deal with the Hive of Annihilation. Hyperion arrives, freezing the small bugs, saying the bottled Hive of Annihilation was cracked, and if General Annihilus should escape, even at miniature size, they would have dominated the American economy. Peter doesn't think they look to stay small, as Dr. Henry Pym, also known as the villain called Ultron, threatens the city with his Pym particles, intending on using them to free the Annihilation Hive. Hyperion easily smashes Ultron up, screwing him up in a ball and returning to the rooftop, and to Jimmy's amazement, Hyperion knows that SHIELD Labs will be there soon, wanting Peter to tell them that he's almost got the last of the criminals, having already captured Winter Soldier and Namor and his mutant force, and there is only one left. Hyperion leaves Peter as at Buscema High School, the students are all shocked to see the Hulk, who talks to them in a backwards speak, saying history has changed and he's the only one seeing it, knowing that he's not crazy. Hyperion arrives, smashing through the wall and tackling Hulk out of the building, battling his arch enemy and asking how he knew his secret identity. Hulk says he knows too much, uppercutting the hero and smashing him over and over, saying that the world and the people are wrong and he needs to find the Avengers. Hyperion knows he's cuddled the being for long enough, grabbing his hand and smashing the villain in the face, saying that he should have done this a long time ago. Hulk kicks the hero away, knowing the Hyperman in front of him has always been mean to him, and Hulk remembers him making the Hulk angry and sad. He chokes Hyperion, who knows he's strong, and the next part is the part he hates. He invokes an executive order, using his hyper beams over a dozen times to kill the Hulk. In his final moments, Hulk asks where Steve is before succumbing to his wounds. With the world safe again, Mark gets back to teaching, acting he's glad that Hyperion was there to save his students. He grabs his tablet with the child's report markings on it, seeing the story about Steve Rogers, making him think for a moment before telling the children to read quietly. Mark takes off again, heading for the Pentagon and digging up records, knowing that Steve Rogers is likely buried in the Arctic Ocean somewhere, causing him to check every iceberg and every part of the sea floor, but he cannot find Captain America. He does, however, find someone was there recently, knowing something was removed from the ice. He thinks about bringing Nighthawk in on the investigation as he heads into the sun for a quick soak to clear his mind and remind himself of the truth, that Captain America is long dead and Hyperion is the Super Sentinel of Liberty, now and always, and his world is everything he ever dreamed of, and if that is somehow a lie, he will fight like hell to keep it exactly the same. Later, back in the school, Mark talks about World War II and how it was won after Power Princess decapitated Hitler and Namor destroyed the Japanese coastal cities. Soon he gets distracted, racing from the classroom to confront a drifter who was sitting outside the building. He asks the man if he needs any help with anything, but the bearded drifter says that he thought the hero could use some help since he missed a few key points in his history teaching. Hyperion thinks that he has a child at the school, but the man says he doesn't, knowing that's something else that was taken from him. Hyperion tells the man to get off school property, wanting to recommend him a history course at the local community college. Hyperion finds his atomic vision shorting out whenever he tries to scan the man, who says it's quite a school he's got here, seeing as they've got their very own superhero watching out for them, knowing it's a real humdinger of a world they live in. Hyperion thinks he knows this man from somewhere, but the man says he's just some homeless veteran who fought for truth, offering his hand to Hyperion. The hero shakes it, finding the man's grip actually hurts him, wondering why he feels so weak around him. Before Hyperion can tell the man to come with him, he disappears, as the man meanwhile is lifted to safety by Blade, who reminds the man that he wasn't meant to be running away since he's seen the world now, wondering if he thinks it's right. The man, revealed to be Steve Rogers, apologizes, knowing waking up from a long sleep to find a vampire standing over one usually means you punch and run, but he knows Blade is right, and this world is all very wrong, wondering what else he missed while on ice. Blade wants to tell him everything, including about the Avengers, but Steve wants to be shown it all, since they have some work to do.